Hello, everyone. This is Donnie Henry. I am the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Greater Peoria, and I'm coming to you from the Liberty Tower in downtown Peoria. We have got a really exciting week ahead of us. We've got the 2 April elections coming up. We're all over the state of Illinois. We'll be holding local elections throughout all the communities across the state. I believe that local elections are the most important elections in this country. I know that it may not seem like it if you watch the news on TV, but it really is where all the magic happens. I mean, let's face it, Washington, D.C. is broken, and Springfield, Illinois is an absolute disaster. But on this election Tuesday, you can elect your neighbor into an elected office locally where they can create policy that will affect our day-to-day lives. So you can make the most change in these local elections, and I highly encourage you all to make sure you get to the polls on Tuesday to vote for those local leaders. But I'm here to make a couple of endorsements. It has been a really, really crazy ride the last few months with these elections. One of the things that really stood out to me is there's just a lot of love for the Peoria area, and I find that very encouraging. No matter where you fall on the political chart or where your opinion is of things, I think we all see the faults in Peoria, but we all want to be a part of the comeback, and I think that's very encouraging. But there were a couple of positions where a couple of people stood out for me. The first one is very easy. It's for the Peoria Heights Village Trustee. I'll be endorsing Branden Wisenburg for that position. There's 3 positions, and Branden is vying for one of them. Now, Branden he's been in the Heights for 30 years. He met the love of his life in the Heights. He's raising his kids in the Heights. He coaches Little League Baseball in the Heights. He sends his kids to the Peoria Heights public schools. I mean, Branden is absolutely vested in Peoria Heights. But his policies are spot on. Branden wants to end the new code word for tax, which is a fee. He's not going to allow that to happen in Peoria Heights if he's elected. He wants to have sensible economic development. I think oftentimes when developers come in, they come into our communities with their hand out. And that's not the way that this works. The job of government is to create the conditions where businesses want to develop into our communities, not where we're begging them through handing them some of the taxpayers' money. So Branden's going to be completely against that. But Branden's big thing is making sure that the Heights stay focused on its working class communities. There were a lot of people that built the Heights, and that's the working class community. So he wants to make sure that they're not left out of this economic boom and that they're having in the Heights. And he wants to make sure that the things that they invest in affect their communities as well as the downtown area. So Branden really would make a great village trustee, and I highly recommend that you guys vote for him. I highly recommend that you guys vote for him and only him. That will give him the best chance to win. But either way, Branden Wisenburg for Peoria Heights Village Trustee, I endorse him. The next one is a little bit closer to home. As you can see, I am in Peoria, so this will be an election that I'll be voting in. I've gotten to know many of the people running for the Peoria City Council at large positions. There's 5 of them, and there's 10 candidates left after the primary. But there was one man that really stood above the other ones. I mean, I've watched the PJ Star editorial videos. I've watched their interviews. I've watched the various forums that have gone on. I've been lucky enough to have a lot of them out to the meetings at the Libertarian Party, chapter meetings each month. But Zach Oyler stood above the rest. When I met Zach, he had a way of telling it the way it is, and that really resonates with me because Peoria is in a very difficult financial situation. And we have to be reasonable. The fact is that we can't live the way that we used to live. One of the things that Zach talks about is that Peoria's days of attracting Fortune 50 companies, fortunately, is over. So we've got to find a way to diversify our businesses and who we attract here. So Zach is absolutely a fiscal conservative. He wants to get government out of the way, and that's going to help attract businesses here. He also is a realtor. He and his wife both do that. He lives in the dead center of Peoria, and he renovates and sells homes. And that's a huge part of restoring Peoria. We have to have places where people want to live. and Zach is on the cutting edge of that. And the big thing is that Zach is a proven record. He has voted against salary raises for high upper level management in the city. He's voted no against tax increases and fees. So Zach really stands with the people, and I highly recommend that we keep him on the Peoria City Council. We need a guy like Zach Oyler in the Peoria City Council, and I'm glad to have met Zach, and honestly, I'm proud to actually call him a friend now. So please get out there and vote for Zach Oyler, and I endorse him for Peoria City Council at large. I did want to make a couple of other mentions. I met a lot of really good people during my time, researching candidates and getting to know candidates. And so there's a couple honorable mentions. One of them is a guy that I've actually never met, but I've watched him from afar on the city council, and that's Sid Ruckriegel. Sid Ruckriegel has been one of the lone voices with Zach Oyler for fiscal solvency. I watched him when the water company buyout was going on, and no matter where you fell on that decision that they needed to make, Sid was the one that was standing there saying that we are going bankrupt. Pensions will bring this all down if we are not making good decisions. And I really respected that, and I've seen him do that multiple times. So if you're looking to someone else to vote for, highly recommend taking a look at Sid Ruckriegel. And Sid, I hope to meet you soon. Another one is Branden Martin. We got to meet Branden Martin at the Libertarian meeting last month, I think. And Branden is really exciting. And what stood out with Branden is that he is not one to come out and be negative. He's about growing our tax base through ideas. Branden is an entrepreneur and a half. I think he has 8 businesses. And one of the things that stood out, he was talking about the 5G, making Peoria a smart city, because that really could change the game for our medical community. So Branden had a lot of new, young, fresh ideas, and I really think he's also worth taking a look at. And the last one that I have is a guy that I've gotten to know for the past few months, and I've also gotten to know well enough to call a friend, and that's Aaron Chess. Aaron Chess is born and raised in Peoria. He has quite the story. He's a really, really good young man, and he no matter what happens in this race, Aaron is going to make a difference in Peoria because he cares. So please take a look at Aaron Chess as well. So officially, I endorse Branden Wisenburg for Village Trustee in Peoria Heights and Zach Oyler for Peoria City Council at large. But most importantly, guys, make sure you get to the polls on Tuesday. If you need a ride, I will be there to pick you up, and let's go. I promise, really, for real, call me and we'll go. We'll find your polling place. We'll get you registered. There is nothing more important in this country, in our republic, than to have our voices heard at the ballot box. So make sure you guys get your voices heard. Like I said, local elections are the most important elections that we have. They make the most difference in our lives. And if you don't vote, you can't complain. And we need all of you to have your voice out there to make Peoria great again, if you want to use that term. But either way, I believe that liberty will play in Peoria again, and it's all of us that will make that happen. So look forward to seeing you guys on April 3rd when we have a new group of people to run our local communities and really have the greater Peoria area make a comeback. So get to the polls Tuesday. It's good talking with you guys, and hope to see you guys soon.